Hey guys, it's Paige and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be continuing my America versus Australia's series. You guys have really liked it and I've really enjoyed making them, so I figured why not continue doing them. Just really quickly before I get into the video, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has been so kind. Like, everybody's been leaving me comments and everyone's been explaining things to me or just telling me things that I would have never known if it wasn't for you. Also, thank you so much. You are actually really adding to my study abroad experience by doing that, so I really appreciate it. I'm gonna give another disclaimer because I did receive some comments in my other video like, oh, stupid American, or like, why don't you guys know this? So I am just gonna say this again, guys. I am not an expert on Australian culture or society. I have only been here a month now, and those previous videos I had been here less than a month, which means there is absolutely no way that I know a ton of stuff about Australian culture. I'm just figuring it out, and I'm putting myself in this kind of vulnerable place where as I'm processing, I am sharing it outwardly. So if you could just be kind and realize that this is a learning process. I'm here as a student to learn about Australian culture, so if you are an Australian and I say something and it's just wrong or it's ignorant, feel free to correct me in the comments. I love it. So many people have corrected me, but just realize that I am learning and growing and that I am telling you outwardly, I do not know. This is like, I'm not saying this is perfect and I just know everything. I'm saying I'm processing and I'm trying to figure it out. So it could be wrong, and that is okay. We are humans and we're all just trying to figure it out. I am aware of my ignorance as an American, and that is why I am here, to learn, to grow, to stop being an ignorant American. So I just want you guys to know that I am well aware that I don't know everything. And I might say some things that are not correct to you, but I'm trying to figure it out. So feel free to correct me, but just be kind. And let's get straight into this video. The first thing that I want to get into is the bugs. In America, our spiders are not all that big depending on where you live. Specifically where I live, they're not bad at all. They're really not that big. They're not really going to bite you that often. Here in Australia, the spiders I've seen have been humongous. They are so big and they're fast and they are running and they're crazy. I was on the beach and there was this huge spider that I thought was a crab, but I was with an Aboriginal person and they were like, oh no, this is definitely not a crab, that is a spider. So for it to be so big that I thought it was, I mean, I'm not talking about like a huge crab, I thought it was a tiny crab, but still it was large enough that it looked like a crab. On top of that, the ants here are different than American ants, at least where I'm from. Where I'm from, ants are so harmless. The most they're gonna do is eat your food and just be annoying. Here in Australia, I got bitten by an ant, and I promise you guys, it swole, what is that word? Swelled? It swole up. What? I don't really know how to say what I was just trying to say. It was swollen right away, and it just like, it hurt so bad, and I thought I got bit by a spider. My host dad was like, oh no, that was definitely an ant, and I looked down and there were ants everywhere on the ground, but I was so confused as to how an ant could hurt so bad. Like, it was stinging, and that does not happen where I am from. That is just like that is so unheard of for it to hurt so bad, and I'm not just being dramatic. Like, other Australians have told me after the fact, like, ooh, be careful of the ants, like, you might not want to sit in that grass. But that was a very weird thing for me because ants in America are super harmless. They're just annoying. They're just pests. They won't hurt you though. They won't bite you. In Australia, I have been learning about Aboriginal culture, and I was talking to an Aboriginal man who told me that honey ants live here and that you can eat them and that they taste good. And so this might not be everywhere in Australia. Like I said, guys, I'm just talking to my specific experience and the people I've interacted with who have told me things, but he told me that he eats honey ants and that some Aboriginal people will eat them and that they are really good. In Australia, the phrase "I'm shocked" is a bad thing. It's like, I'm shocked as in like I'm annoyed or whatever like that. Whereas I'm shocked in America is like, I can't believe that happened. What? Like, oh, this is news to me. That's the difference in I'm shocked. I'm going to talk a little bit about education. If you guys want to have a more in-depth video about specifically just education, leave it in the comments and let me know. In Australia, they seem to be a lot more strict about plagiarism, so I have to turn all my assignments through something called Turnitin, which is like this automatic thing that points out plagiarism, and on top of it, every time you turn in an assignment, you have to like mark like this sheet that agrees, like, this is not plagiarism, this is my own work. It's like this whole document every single time that you turn something in. Whereas in America, you turn a lot of paper copies of things. There's not necessarily like a plagiarism checker. That's how you say that word. There's not necessarily a plagiarism checker. Why is that word so hard? Because plagiarism. There's not necessarily a plagiarism checker, so I guess people could get away with plagiarism if they wanted to. Not just obvious plagiarism. Guys, my words are so jumbled today, I don't know what's happening. Let me rephrase this. The point I'm trying to make is it seems like Australia is a little bit more strict about turning in your assignments and checking to make sure that it is your own work. Another thing I've noticed, which might not be everywhere in Australia, but at least the school that I am in, is that I have block classes. So I just have class once a week for like 3 hours or once a week for 5 or however many hours, but it's a longer period of time. Whereas in America, I'll have the same class multiple times a week for a shorter period of time. So maybe like 90 minutes twice a week or an hour 3 times a week. If that makes any sense. It's just like in America, you'll have the same class multiple times for shorter periods. In Australia, at least where I've been, it's just once a week for a long period of time. I've also noticed, and this could just be because I'm from Portland, Oregon, but the people in Portland, when guys have long hair, it's starting to become pretty common, but it's shaved on the sides and it's like this like man bun thing right in the middle, or it's a long patch in the middle. Whereas in Australia, I feel like I see guys with long hair and it's not shaved on the sides. And this is just more like an aesthetic thing. It's not like general culture, but just something I noticed is it doesn't seem like they shave their sides. It seems like they just have, if they do have long hair, it's just all the way around long. They're not shaving it and doing all of that stuff that people where I'm from do. Another thing I noticed is that mascara here, or just makeup in general, is super expensive. If I can, I will insert a picture somewhere on this clip, but mascara is like 24 bucks, the same mascara that's like $8 in the States. So even with the conversion rates, because our money is a different price, it still is way more expensive over here, whereas other things it kind of evens out within the conversion rate, but makeup is something that I still feel like is just, it doesn't really even out, and it's just really, really a much higher price over here in Australia. Another difference is it just, this really freaks me out. It feels like I'm in the Twilight Zone where I'm walking through life and it's like everything is the same, but it's just like there's slight differences. So it feels like, have you ever played those games when you were a kid, or maybe even still now, where it's like 2 pictures and one picture and the other picture are like identical, but there's like really subtle differences, like maybe something's a different color or a slightly different shape, or it's slightly missing. And that's what being here feels like, because everything is so similar, but it's like instead of it being Cheetos, it's like the same looking thing but a different name, a different brand. Or the Gatorade bottles, you guys still have Gatorade, but they're in a different bottle. It just like looks different, it's in a different shape. And so that is so strange to me, because I'm like, this is all the same, just slightly different. Even with the accents to people, I know I have an accent in Australia, but to me everybody else has an accent. It's just a matter of your perspective. So from my perspective, everybody has an accent. So even just that, it's like everyone's speaking English, but they're speaking it just like slightly differently than what I'm used to. And so like just being here is so funny, because I'm like, oh yeah, like I know what I'm doing, and then I'm like, what's going on? Because it's just like subtle, slight differences. I don't know if that really is even a difference, but that's just my own like side piece, I guess, if that's not really a difference. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there because that's how I've been processing some things, and it's so surreal and just like, ah. The next difference, guys, I am so sorry, in my first video I said Mackers. You guys in the comments were actually pretty nice compared to how I would have been like, girl, what are you doing? Okay, Macca's. Got it, guys. Sorry about that. But Macca's is way more fancy in Australia. It's not just like that they have different food, it's like just fancier over here. So I will also insert a picture if I can find it. But like you guys have like brie and cheese and like roasted cheddar over beignets. Like I don't know, but it's a little fancy. And in American McDonald's, you get like chicken nuggets. That's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. It's so helpful for these kinds of videos, and you guys were really, really awesome in my last video and gave it so many thumbs up. Like, guys, thank you. On top of that, please leave me more comments. Please, if I said something and you're like, girl, let me hook you up because I know the info, do it. Like, please, I love when you guys do that. I love engaging with you. I love when you have advice for me. It is so helpful. On top of that, hit that subscribe button if you feel like it, because then you can keep rocking with me in this series. And with all of that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you for being the most amazing people ever and all of the help you've given me so far. I cannot wait to continue learning and growing with you all. And I will see you in my next video.